Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Jay Ellison with Echo Benefit Solutions. It may not be morning when you're watching it, but it's morning right now. And I'm talking to my good friend, Chris Hudson of Booth and Cook Attorneys at Law. And she is my go-to Terminator personal injury attorney. And I know she's a lawyer, but she's really, really nice and surprisingly, friendly. So we
I
talked
try.
we talked a little bit before about common misconceptions people have about lawyers, or things people don't know about personal injury, because we see the commercials, we see the cheesy billboards, we see all this stuff, and there's all the jokes, and we won't get into that too much, but they're good ones. But we kind of want to come up with some information you can actually use to save you some money and some heartache. So the first question we came up with was, what kind of events trigger the call to an attorney? Because most people, I think they have to be in a horrible accident, lose a limb, struck by lightning. Not that would be, you could sue somebody for, but that kind of like catastrophic event. But that's not correct, is it?
No, it's actually not. You actually can have permanent injuries by just, I'll say your standard fender bender. So even if you're in an accident at a stoplight and someone, rear ends you, that is something that you could have a permanent injury on that you need to look into. So if you have any questions on that, I would definitely recommend calling us, and we'll be able to talk you through and navigate you through that process and what that looks like. But never be scared to call an attorney to get the advice, because there is a lot of misconceptions. And a lot of people like that you see one little tidbit that you pull out from the internet and it's not all accurate. So if it's a free consultation, why not just call me and ask, and I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, we used to have this phrase, expression in the Army called Barracks Lawyers. And they were usually soldiers that had been in trouble enough that they had a good knowledge of the legal system. So they would give advice, and it was always bad. So they barracks lawyered up. That means they're going to make the wrong decision. And there's a time frame on this too. When you need to, at the time of the accident, you need to make the call to be able to make certain kinds of claims, right?
Correct. So you actually have 14 days to be diagnosed with an EMC, emergency medical condition, in order to maximize your PIP. But you don't want to wait those 14 days, because a lot happens in that time period. Letters have to go out to insurance. You have to have claim numbers. You're going to see doctors. There's just so much that happens that it can get very overwhelming. And it's easier for us to maximize your claim if we are involved at the beginning. And then we can navigate you. Like I said, a lot of people, it's traumatic. You don't know what to do. You panic. And so having somebody there to consciously guide you is a really great tool. People need to take pictures of their vehicle and the other vehicle, exchange information, definitely call to report the accident, so that there's documentation that's made with a report. And if you're not the party at fault, then you want to make sure that the party who was responsible gets deemed to be at fault at the scene, because that makes it easier for a claim.
Yeah. And so in the sense of what to do, we got that now. But what kinds of things should you not do, or what kind of mistakes do people very frequently make in this process?
I've seen where people have attempted to do it on their own, and that has significantly harmed their claim, and or they wait say 3-4 months down the road, and then they want to get an attorney involved because the insurance company is sending them really lowball offers for what their injuries are. Or they sign off, they get a check and they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to help me so much now. So they sign off on a settlement that was really, really insignificant to what their potential would be. So it's tenfold a difference.
That's always been shocking to me, is how low. Because for regular working people, like even myself, somebody hands you a check for $50,000. That's a life-changing amount of money. But compared to your medical expenses and all the things that come up in the future, property damage, everything else, it's a drop in the bucket. But you don't know that unless you have an expert to tell you, what it could be. So yeah, that's a great point. And then, so we live in Florida. We are the all-star team of crazy people and bad drivers. Like, we import them from all over the world. They're drawn by the sunshine and the meth, apparently. But
And
they're,
even if they were good, as soon as they cross that border, they turn bad. It's just something in the air.
I don't know what it is, because you're from here too, right? You're native.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I look at people, like you can tell when somebody's not from here. They blame it on us. Florida man, oh, it's famous, but it ain't us. It's all the wackos that moved here from up north. So I believe that. So what do drivers in Florida, not just the natives, need to know when it comes to their car insurance?
What's so important, which I see all the time, is where people deny their coverage, and that's uninsured, underinsured motorist. So basically in Florida, if you get hurt, you're going after the other person's insurance company. But
Right.
routinely, what I'll see is they don't have enough insurance to cover your injuries. And if you're in the hospital for one night, what the statutory requirements are is not enough to satisfy that. So you want to make sure that you're carrying the coverage to protect yourself and your family so that you don't have to rely on anybody else.
Yeah. Well, in doing health insurance, I know that the starting deductible for at least for this year or the max out of pocket, it's $85.50 per person. So if you have a family in a car or just two people in a car, that's on $17,000 of out of pocket before your insurance pays anything. And that's all on you. So that's where the other drivers, the uninsured motorist comes in. If the other driver, and it's a fact of life that there's a lot of people who are driving with no license, no insurance. They're not supposed to be here, blah, blah, blah. It happens all the time.
It's an exponential risk that that is not worth it to take, because it could, the medical bills could, bankrupt you. And it's not even your fault. Like that's the tragedy of the whole
Wrong
thing.
place, the wrong time. Yeah, it sucks.
So you got to protect yourself. So I would recommend talking to your insurance agent. That's what that declining, that's what it means. And I would never recommend doing that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even cost that much, really. It's not, you just get enough coverage to cover your out of pocket at a minimum. It doesn't cost that much. I've looked at my own bill, but it's not that bad. So it's definitely worth it. So, well, before we wrap up, I wanted to thank you. I have two teenage drivers now, an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. God help me. I had to sell a kidney for car insurance for this year. It wasn't mine, but still had to sell one. But you gave me some tips, because I was starting to tell them what to do if they got into an accident, because I think I know. But then I started thinking, like, is that right? Because that I might be redneck in that. Like that might not be right information. But you gave me some good advice, and I actually typed it up on a note on my phone and sent it to them, so they have it on their phone. So if they do get into a fender bender, they know what to do. And obviously the first thing they do is call me, but that's item number one. But the other things are on there if they don't get me, and the common sense things, exchange information, take pictures of everything, licenses, the damage.
Call 911 if you're hurt.
Yeah, don't admit don't admit to anything. You don't have to, but it's common sense things. But in that moment of, because the first thing a kid thinks when they get in an accident is, oh my God, my parents are going to kill me, and what am I going to do with my car? They're not thinking beyond the moment. And you really need to write them, because that's going to bite you in the rear end when they, come after you, later. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
The best thing on those tidbits, if you guys want to see them, they're at our website, www.boothcook.com. And I have a SAFE acronym that you can copy and maybe have your kids put it on their phone. But it's a really good tool when you're under that experience and you're under that state of stress, to be able to just do a checklist. I'd love me some checklists. So
yeah, no, it's awesome. What you need in the moment, having something to refer to. We did that in the Army as well. Checklists, and we call them battle drills. So you do it so often that it's just muscle memory. You don't have to think, because in a crisis, you are not thinking. It's got to be automatic. So I'll put the link to that in the notes for this when I put it out on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. But thank you so much. Like always, great advice. It's free to call, which, you can't hurt. And the phone number is right behind her there, 727 Hey Chris. And like I said, it's the only thing wrong with her in the entire world is where she went to school. So, that's all I can say. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.